Hi folks, I am going to demonstrate how to use Illustrator to create your palette project. I just want to go over briefly though again a few things. One, that you are doing one of your compositions is going to be playing with transparency or opacity, whichever you prefer to call it. And sorry, I'm trying to zoom in, but when I'm screenshotting it, screen recording, it doesn't work so well. So let me zoom in with this tool here. Okay, so here you see I've played with transparencies. So you can see there's areas where the shape interacts. You see the tail of the G, you see this O overlapping. The yellow of this O you can see is overlapping rather than being behind because of its lightness. So this composition here, you can see that there's orange and blue included in it, and red and green. So this is really playing more with colors that are complements, which will mean that the colors that are overlapping, it takes away the saturation of them. They're more muted. Where in this sample, I've used analogous colors, so you can see the yellow, pink, orange, red. They're all close together, and so when the colors overlap, you don't see as much of that change in the saturation. So you can see the S and the Q overlapping here. So it really stays in that warm pinkish yellow tone there, where here you see much more of a desaturation. So one of your compositions is going to be using transparency, and moving over here. The other one, you can see I've used the tool, the Pathfinder tool, to create these negative spaces. So you're going to have the overlap is going to be where you intentionally put color in there. Okay, I'm going to zoom out of here now. I think I've all done that. How do I change that to a negative? I usually don't use this tool. Here we go. Okay. There we go. I learned something today too. So you see also on my screen, I've put these two sample paintings from MoMA, and I want you to really think about the composition and do something that's interesting. I'm going to show you some simple tools, and I'm not going to be spending hours with the composition, but I want you to be thoughtful about your composition so that it really is beautiful, like some of the fine art that you've been looking at MoMA. Okay, so here is the template, and the first thing you're going to do is you are going to place your resource image. One is going to be your street art and one's going to be MoMA art. So I am going to, right in here, I'm going to go to place under file because I'm looking for a new file. And here it is right here. So I'm going to place, and I am going to grab this. This is my piece of artwork that I want to use, even though I just showed you. I love it for the colors as well. So I'm going to say place. If you see that my monitor is sort of bouncing, my cat is sitting here trying to rub his face on my monitor. There's always company whenever I start doing a video. So I have put this down here as my resource palette. So you see there's 5 colors here, and each one has a code in it. So I'm going to highlight this a little bit more, not too much. There we go. So you can see there is a number here that's C33, M11, Y100, and K0. That represents CMYK. So I am going to first take this black arrow. I'm going to select this box here, and then I'm going to get the eyedropper, and I'm going to pick one of the colors from my palette. I'm going to go grab the black arrow again, highlight that, grab a blue. I'm going to eyedropper, grab maybe this pink, and if I don't like the colors I grab, I can just try it again. So maybe I grab from here. Now these are really flat colors. You might have something that's more of a gradation, so you can go and try to select from that same area again, getting a different tone. So if I don't like that one, I can just go and try this one. That's too similar one I already have. Maybe I like this color. I kind of like that. Now when I look at these colors in my palette, does it feel harmonious? It does in this composition, and yours will likely look good too. But you can see that these feel more muted and these feel more higher chroma, more of a full hue, which is fine. But I think I might want to vary this a little bit. Maybe I want to, I'm gonna stick with it, and I can change it later if I want. Okay, so some things I want to show you to help you function well is when you go to Window, there's this thing called Workspace, and you want to be on Essentials Classic, which you see I have clicked here. Because when you hit Essentials Classic, it's going to show you the most tools. For one thing, when I click on a tool, it gives me a responsive bar. Like if I switch to typography and I click type, it gives me different type. If I select this square, it changes to the different information that I need. So having it again, it's Window, Workspace, Essentials Classic. Also, I need one more tool that's not showing up here, and that is the Pathfinder. So it's down here. So I go under Window again, and I scroll all the way down to Pathfinder. And the tool actually is on my bar right here because I do use it a lot. But so you will have to open it if you're doing this for the first time. So here's my Pathfinder tool, and we are going to visit that in a moment. Okay, so another thing I want to show you is under Layers, I have provided you with some things that might be a little confusing at first. I know we've got a friend here. Let's move the friend over there. His name is Pepper. I have made this layer with the frame. So when you click, what's the best way to show you this? I'm going to actually keep working, and then I'll demonstrate how this is working. I'm going to hide this red layer, and you see this box that I have here. Notice there's a funny thing that says I can't work on here. I'm going to click on this red layer, and then I am going to take a shape. So I'm going to take this circle and drag that over there. I'm going to drag another circle. If I hold the Shift key, I get a perfect circle. I am going to hover, and then I can get different shapes. So I can grab a square. I can make it a square by holding down the Shift key, or I can make it a rectangle. And I can also play with some different tools here. Let me make these all outlined. So I'm going to grab these, and I am going to go to my color box here. I'm going to click the outline to be black, and the fill is going to be none, just so I can see what I'm doing here a little bit more. So these are very geometric shapes. I am going to now go to this curvature tool, and you can click, move somewhere else, and then pull a curve. So you click, pull, and then you can pull it together when you see that little circle showing up. So there's another shape. Another thing that you can do is a shape that you already have. If I unclick it, I go to the white arrow and I hover. And when you hover, you can end up having showing these white points here. And once you have those white points, you can click on them and move them around. Okay, and you can also take these handles and switch them and move them around like this. Sorry, Pepper's being really attentive today. So I can also go and add more points in here. So if I go to the plus sign on my keyboard, I get a plus. And if I go to the minus sign, I get a minus. So I can plus and add a point, and add a point, and add a point. And then I will go back to my arrow, and I will pull out some of these points, and I can move these handles around to get all kinds of interesting shapes here. I'm kind of liking the way this looks. It's kind of funky. But I want you not to just settle on the first thing that comes along, because, we've just been looking at this really great art at moment. So I want you to be inspired. So I'm trying to do this kind of quickly so you can go and work, but at the same time, I don't want you to be quick when you're thinking about your patterns. Now I'm playing with overlapping shapes and I'm looking at the negative spaces in here and saying, oh, do I like that? Like this looks awkward to me, just getting these small little pieces here, and this one kind of touches. I kind of actually do like the way that just touches, but maybe you can swivel over here and you can rotate that and pull that up. Maybe I play with it just so I get it to touch. So what I did was I clicked on the shape so that you can see this outline, and that's with the black arrow. And then I can, when I hover, you can swing it around. Other things that you can do, this is an object. So if I go up to the object menu, I can do some different things, like I can reflect, which turns it forwards or backwards, and you can change the angle. So I can flip it vertical. That's kind of interesting the way that's looking there. Excuse me. So up here, you can, sorry, you have to have the shape selected first. You can go up here, go to object, and you can also group objects by clicking multiple objects. So if I hold my shift key, I can select both these objects together and move them around at the same time. I can hit holding the shift key again to add another object and move them around, or hit the shift key and release that one. And so when I do this, I could also go up to object and group. Don't be afraid to try different things. You're not going to break it. And I'm going to go back and ungroup. So now that's how you can play with these different shapes. Now this is one interlocking shape here. It's not two shapes, even though it sort of looks like that. So I just am bringing that to your attention because I'm going to be filling these with color, and that will make a difference. So I am going to zoom out of here again. Sorry. Don't usually use this tool. And then I'm going to get back to my, when I'm making these videos, there's all these things in my way. And sometimes I will hit a command key and all of a sudden I keep talking and I realize that the camera stopped rolling because the command key affected the video. Anyway, so now what I want to do is go back to the layers and revisit this. So I turned off this layer and I was just working on this background shape. This layer is your art, and I'm going to unclick all of this. And so when I hit the frame, you see that it's cropped. So I did that frame to make it easier for you, that you could really visualize what you were doing. You don't have to feel like all your shapes sit on the page, because if they do, they're not going to look nice if everything feels like it's constrained and trying to fit on that page. So the way it feels kind of awkward. It's nice when it rolls off the page there. Okay, so I think my cat did something when he stepped on the keyboard. All right, so now I'm going to start adding colors. So the colors are on this frame piece here. So I am going to select one of these shapes, and then I'm going to grab the eyedropper. So it's not the measuring tool. If you can't find something, these little tiny arrows, again, have more information. So I might try filling this shape with this color, select this shape, and I might fill it with this pink color. This one I can fill with this color. So I can fill them with different colors in here. And this is looking a little bit bland right now, but we will build upon it. So this is why I was saying this is one shape, so it's going to be one color here. And then this is going to be maybe that blue. Okay, so, and then there's a background, right? So when I shut this, I have this background frame here too. So I can also go and fill that with the color. So let me fill it with this peachy color for right now. Okay, so now you see, you don't see the peachy colors on this background here. But that's okay, because I am going to for this version, I am going to select all of them by clicking and dragging over it, or you can select, again, certain objects by just hitting the Shift key. And then I am going to go to my opacity, which is right here, sorry. It's these two double circles, the transparency. So I can click on here and I can change this transparency. And I'm going to change all three of these at the same time to the same transparency effect, but just so you can see quickly. But so this is only going to look interesting if it's not on top of that background, because it's the same color as the background. And I have this shape that also has that background color on it. I might want to change that shape. But so I'm playing with this opacity. Now you're not seeing this blue is so strong that you're not seeing the opacity here. And one of the things is I can bring this piece by going to the object, transform, and arrange and bring to front. So now you see that quality of the opacity different. So a lighter color you generally want to have on top so you can really see that effect. So what I have here is not very pretty. So do not take this as an example of how your art should look, but this is a technique that I'm really showing you here. So now I am going to go over here and actually what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this. It will be quicker. So this whole page is a giant artboard. So if I reduce this, I don't remember how I made that negative. There we go. If I make this a lot smaller, you can see I have this giant artboard here. And if I go to this tool, my artboard tool, I can click, see the way this one's highlighted? I just click on this one because this is one I want to copy. I hold down my Option key, which would be different on a PC. And when I'm holding down the Option key and I've got this selected, I can move over. And what I've actually done is I've made a copy. So you may want to make a copy so that you can experiment with your design to make something different and bigger. I need this to be bigger, and then I need to go and change my screen so I can move my jeepers, golly jeepers. When I've got this thing, like I said, I need to scroll upward. All right, there we go. Okay. So I have variations on this. So what I'm going to do now this time is I'm going to go to my layers right now and hide the frame for a moment. I'm going to take all of these shapes, and instead of having a transparency, I am going to use my Pathfinder tool to chop them into little bits. So let me actually grab all of these and make them no fill. So if I go up to color, I can make the fill blank and I can make the outline black so I can see it for now. Okay. So I am going to overlap these so that they make interesting shapes where they overlap, which these aren't really doing that. Again, please try hard with your patterns because it does take time and I don't want to drag you through me spending precious time, although I can't stop myself. I don't like the way it looks, so I keep playing with it. But I do want to get some more little areas in my shapes. You want to have some smaller areas that you can start playing with, getting some interesting overlapping shapes in here. So I'm going to move this over here and I am going to make another swirly shape in here. Actually, I should blow this up. I've got it so small. Oh, I've never seen that happen before. I realize I've got this very small for you to see what I'm doing. There you go. And now I need to. How did I move that up before? Okay, there we go. I'm going to. sorry, I'm going to create oops, it didn't land there. Okay. Some little boomerang shape there. So that's really an awkward spot there. I'm going to get it so it makes sort of an interesting overlapping of shapes. Yeah, see, I keep playing with it. I can't stop myself. All right. So I have got some interesting shapes here now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag over all of them. I am going to put this to the side. You can move these things into this bar here. So you see the little blue line show up. And I'm going to put my Pathfinder in here. Actually, I want this open. So these have little diagrams of what's going to happen. This is what we want, the divide tool, because I'm going to take all of these shapes, actually even my background, and I'm going to divide it. So what has happened now is each one of these shapes is a completely different shape. So I can grab this and I am going to go back to my layers. I'm going to put the frame back over top and I am going to use my eyedropper and pick this, and I'm going to grab this. Whoops. You may need to just grab the direct selection tool, the white arrow, and sometimes you may prefer to go and ungroup. So I'm going to play with. So the way you choose colors, I think what I'm going to do for this particular organic shape is just use these lighter colors that I have. And then, because then what's happening is it's really starting to form that shape more. And then I can fill this one with this pink here. And then maybe these outer shapes I can select. That's my frame that I've selected. See the way it's red outline versus when I'm clicking on this, it turns to a blue outline. I'm going to hit Object, Ungroup. That will make it a little easier to work with. So when they have the blue, it's on the blue layer. When I click something here, it's on the red layer. So you want all your artwork to be on the blue layer. And if you accidentally put something on the red layer, what you can do is when I grab that shape, notice this little red dot shows up here. So I can drag that dot to the blue layer. And now this shape is actually on the blue layer. Okay. So now I'm going to grab this background shape, which I'm not sure I am. I think I have. And I'm going to grab, nope, I didn't. I'm going to hide this for a minute. The challenge is that my color swatches are on the red layer, which you may want to actually, a little trick that you could do is you could just grab your swatches, you can copy them and go to your red layer and just paste them on your red layer too. So you have them, and then I can hide the blue layer. Whoops, I've got all my artwork on the blue layer. Anyway, sorry. I am going to see if I'm trying to hide the frame here. I'm trying to hide all right. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to talk and do work at the same time. I meant to copy this from the red layer, hide the red layer, go to the blue layer, and paste it on the blue layer. So now I can see where I'm working, and then later I click this and it puts a nice frame over it, and I can continue working. So at any rate, what I wanted to do was fill in some of these background shapes. So I'm going to turn the red off now because I was grabbing that accidentally, and grabbing this shape. And so I might play with the darker colors being on the outside, which I'm actually not liking anymore. But you can see how you can get lots of different variations. And in the end, I might change these colors from what was in my palette. All right. Lastly, what I want to revisit. So if I actually visit for the first time, and I forgot to bring this up in class, these colors here, you can see that this color, if I go to the color palette and I click on this, it is 27.84 cyan. 98.43 is the magenta. You can see these percentages. So what I'm going to ask you to do is make these numbers whole numbers. Oops, that's 95. This one would be 29. This one would be 98. And you can just go and put the numbers in there, right? And it looks not very different at all now that it's got these whole numbers. The reason why you want whole numbers is this is going to be cyan. It's 28 and the magenta is 98. So I'm going to make it cyan 28, magenta 98. And then I need to go back and click on the color to see it again. 95 and 29. And so then it's going to be 95 yellow and 29 black. And so the other thing I want to point out is when I click on this color, see this number here? This is a hex code. So you can get your text tool, go over here, and you can select that text. I'm going to do Command C to copy, and I'm going to right over here. You want to keep the hex code symbol there, and I'm going to, whoops, I didn't copy it. Let me go back again. So I need to click here, go to my text tool, click in here, Command C to copy it, go back here to where my hex symbol is and paste it. And let me double check that. Yep, so there we go. So for each one of these colors, you're going to want to put the CMYK number there, and then you're going to put the hex code. Okay, so that's an important part. And then I'm going to zoom out. Oh, let me zoom out with the control keys. And I am going to hit my frame is on, and these I'm going to move out of the way. So your composition should have your colors, your artwork that you're getting your palette from, and a nice framed piece of artwork. These black lines should not show up in the end. So when I pick a color, see the way over here there's no black outline? When I click this color right now, it's a black outline. But these should not have a black outline when you're done, so that you don't end up with little black outlines in your artwork. You want the colors to touch each other, okay? And then in the end, when you're saving this, you are going to File, Save As. Do not export. You're going to Save As, and you're going to, I forget what I asked you to call it. I think I called it Pattern. And you're going to put your last name in there. So mine would be Lily, Lilley. And then you're going to go to the arrow and you're going to save it as a PDF. And then you'll save it. And then you will have to move it from behind my face. Save it. My cat just stepped on the keyboard and changed the symbol, but you know what I was trying to do. Okay? Good luck. Have fun.